Hello and welcome to Learning with Lickem. Please join me as we discover new things and find creative ways to manufacture entertainment. On this podcast, we are going to explore any topic that arises. The sky is the limit, and there is no subject we won't explore. Here we go. Okay, dudes. Welcome back again to another episode of Learning with Lickem. I'm having a good time talking about some of this stuff. Actually, I don't know what the word is. There's some kind of something that makes me feel better about talking about it. But anyway, I was going to try and put up some pictures today so you could understand what I was talking about over there, but I can't figure out how to do that shit. So I'm going to try and draw it a little bit. So today I thought maybe I would just talk about, I don't know, I don't think we were there for 2 weeks when we got our first shell shock. I shouldn't say that. We were only there for probably a week when we got hit with mortars the first time in the base, but that'll be another story. But this time, I'm not an artist by any stretch of words, and this is going to be in sections, so whatever. So I'm going to do it as best I can. We had an office, right? And we were part of the TAC, which there's a parking lot right outside of our office. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. All right, so I'm going to try and draw like a top-down view, so at least you have some kind of an idea, maybe. And there's like a little patio thing here that had some benches in it. This is all made of wood, right? And then this whole thing here, there's a bunch of Jersey barriers. I'm not sure how to draw them either. And then over here was the big office, right? So I'm hoping that this will make sense to you a little bit. So if you're looking from the top down, right? I swear someday I'll find pictures and show you exactly what I'm talking about with this. But if you were looking at the top down at our, where we stayed, we had the big office over here. It had a big flag out front. If you're looking on the top down, you'd be looking at the top of the main office for the base, right? For our unit anyway. And then there was like a pavilion kind of here. It was open on the sides. It was just very small. Had boards inside of it and a couple benches on the inside. And then on the other side over here is where our TAC was, right? And then this was Jersey barriers, right? These things here. And then all this stuff out here was all stones, like for a parking lot and a driving area, like for trucks or whatever to drive through there, and then they could pull off and pull into the parking spot right up against the Jersey barriers. And I apologize that isn't, I mean, that's only a little bit descriptive, but anyway, so at those Jersey barriers, we used to back our strikers up. And then the strikers had a ramp in the back that you would lower. Had a little door on them too, but most of the time when we were stopping like that, we would just drop the ramp down. And then we had what we called ramp meetings every morning. And that was where our, either our platoon leader or the platoon NCO, whoever's in charge of the platoon that day, or sometimes the commander, depending on what it was, we'd put that ramp down, and whoever was giving the speech would stand on that ramp and delegate to the, troops what we were doing that day, who we were going after, or, what area we were going to, or whatever the case was. And we all gathered around there and sucked down as much coffee as we could, before we took off, before the sun came up most days. And we were there doing our ramp meeting one morning, and it was just starting to get light out. I remember it was just, I remember it being light. I can't remember exactly if it was just starting to get light or if it was the end of the day. But when you get there, like when you go to do that, you usually spend a little bit of time shadowing the unit that's there, because you're usually there to replace somebody. So I think it was first cav that we were replacing when we got there. But we were one of the only striker units to be there, and they were all in like MRAPs and Humvees and shit like that. So I think it was first cav. But anyway, so we were supposed to start driving around outside the gate with them, pairing up and seeing what they do, and that way we can find out, who's nice, who's not nice, what routes we want to take, whatever. And I think that was supposed to be our first day of actually doing it. So I can't remember if it was early morning, early evening, but we're everybody's gathered around, and I think Sergeant Thompson was up on the ramp, and he was screeching, well, this MRAP and these couple Humvees come flying in the gate on the side. Like it's typically like a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on the on the roads around there. Sometimes even 10. They don't want you going fast. Rightly so. There's a lot of people there. So these dudes were flying in to the thing, and naturally it caught everybody's attention because we weren't exactly sure why they were flying in like that. I mean, they shouldn't have been going that fast. That coffee's so yummy with that shit in there. Anyway, they came flying in, and they always parked next to us in the lot. I mean, like, so if this is our drawing, right? And we would park right over here, right outside of our tack, and they would park, over here on the other side. Now, you're talking about a striker, so there's a little bit of room there. I mean, you're thinking, I don't know, like the size of a bank parking lot or something. You know what I mean? So pretty decent sized parking lot. But they came in and ripped over on the side of there, and as soon as they did, all the dudes jumped out that were in those vehicles. And I'm going to try and draw this one for you too, just so you have an idea. But an MRAP is like a mine-resistant anti something or another. I don't know, it's been a while since I remembered it. But bear with me with this terrible drawing. And they got a big old thing back here, like this. Alright, they got great big wheels on them. So something like that. And they got I apologize again. So MRAPs kind of look like that, like trucks, right? And they're all metal. And they got a turret up here on the top somewhere. They got some windows up here on the top also, I guess. And then there's also a ramp on the door that opens, or maybe a swinging door, but either way, I don't know. So these dudes came ripping back in to the parking lot and pulled straight in, and the first thing that we noticed was this big ass hole right here, right? Had black all the way around it. So what we learned was that unit was on I don't know if they were just on a routine patrol or whatever, and they hit something called an EFP. And EFP? Yeah, I think it was an EFP. But what it is if you imagine like a supersized coffee can, right? Like an industrial coffee can, maybe a little bigger than that. They take a container like that, and they put inside of it a charge, a detonation, something that can blow up. I mean, some kind of what's the word? Explosives. They put explosives in it, right? And then in front of that explosive, they put this copper plate. Excuse me. I think it's copper or bronze. And when the explosive blows, it hits into that copper plate and molts it pretty much. And then that'll burn through pretty close to anything, right? So these dudes were driving by something, and somebody set one of them up and blew it. And when that truck was in front of it, it burned right through the side of that, and it also burned through the guy that was sitting on the other side of the wall. So one of our very first exposures, we saw these dudes rip in next to us in the parking lot when we were just, like I said, I don't think we were there for 2 weeks. And these dudes all jumped out, and ran around the back. And when they opened the door, just this blood poured out. It looked like paint or something. But as soon as we saw that, we knew, then naturally we all ran over, and their CO told us they got it. But when they pulled him out, it looked like it burned through his arm and his leg. And it was a tough thing to see, but then they had to clean that truck out with all that kid's blood in it. But it was a rough introduction to the country, is what it was. That one sits in the back of my head. It doesn't haunt me, I guess, like some of them do. But it's definitely it was definitely a wake-up call for us. And we had no idea what we were in for on the way there. You think you are, but you're not. But anyway, I wanted to tell that when I was thinking about it today, and I wanted to tell that story down before, because Lord knows how long I'm going to remember these, but probably be better if I just forgot them all. Anyway, it's 12:40, and I'm going to play some music. So thanks again, y'all. Come on back to Learning with Lickem another time. I actually have a website set up now. It's not really. It just goes to the YouTube page, but www.learningwithlickem.com. Come and find me. All right. See y'all later.